Welcome back to Brothers Blockbusters, a sibling-hosted average Joe podcast where each week we discuss the biggest movie and TV news and review the latest releases so you don't have to. And today we're going to cover June's movie release schedule, a Gene Wilder biopic announcement, and then we're going to review the highly anticipated A24 film Backrooms. Ready to get after it?
Yeah, should be a fun one.
Yeah, I'm excited. This week in Hollywood, we don't have too much again to cover, but I think the big hit for this week is the June release schedule. So as we're, the first few days into June, we have some movies coming up this weekend, and then throughout the month, I think there are only 4 weekends in June instead of 5. I know, depending on the month, there might be 4 or 5. But this weekend, the first weekend of June, we have Scary Movie, and then Masters of the Universe comes out this weekend as well. Both of those I've heard, Scary Movie is going to be one of those that's not going to be highly reviewed, right? Because it's a parody movie.
I've seen a few of the reviews so far, and it looks like I think it was pretty rotten on Rotten Tomatoes. I think I saw it this afternoon. We were preparing for this. It's like at 21%, so not great. But it's a scary movie. They're parodies, right? So
right.
Some people love them, some people critically review them, but I don't know. It should be. I'll probably watch it. I don't know if I'll go see it in theaters. I might just wait for it to come on streaming, but I don't think anything's ever going to beat Scary Movie 3.
Is it 3?
Yeah,
with Charlie Sheen.
Charlie Sheen, The Rain, 8 Mile, Signs.
Mm-hmm.
Like that to me was peak Scary Movie, and I know the first 2 were also some of the funniest scary movies of the series, but.
Yeah,
I guess that's when you and I were kids growing up. We started picking up Scary Movie, and I think that was the first one we watched because it had some of our favorite movies in there. We loved Signs. The Rain scared the crap out of us when we were kids, and 8 Mile is obviously great. So watching that movie was Simon the 8 Mile scene when his hat just kept getting bigger. When Charlie Sheen's the cop's hat just kept getting bigger.
Yeah, that's like a core memory we had as kids is watching that movie. We watched Signs and The Rain around that time and how scary those were, and then be able to see it in like a parody way was really good.
I'm interested to see. I know they're doing a lot of. Do you know what they're covering in this?
Yes, I want to say like Get Out is one of. I have to look it up, but I know that's a big one because I've seen the trailer. Part of that, Sinners, Weapons, I believe as well. Terrifier. Yes, you remember, Art the Clown, Terrifier.
God, I remember seeing that. Terrifier.
Smile as well. And I think a couple others, but I think the main ones are Sinners, Weapons, Smile.
That's crazy.
Oh, Long Legs too. I forgot Long Legs. So that's coming out this weekend. Like I mentioned before, Masters of the Universe. Heard decent things about it, but again, this is not really in our wheelhouse.
No.
Like we didn't really grow up with it. We didn't grow up on it.
We didn't grow up with it. No.
I think that was mainly the 80s and maybe early 90s. But
yeah.
And there was a Masters of the Universe movie years ago. But again, I think it might be one of those things if I get to it when it comes on streaming, if it's worth watching, then
sure.
I'll wait till streaming. Yep. So that's this weekend. Next weekend, the big movie coming out is Disclosure Day. Steven Spielberg.
Did you see they released I think they released the final trailer for that. Did you watch it?
I did not see the final trailer.
It was really odd. They had it was like part movie trailer, but part like Steven Spielberg was talking. Like they showed him like it was like an interview.
Yeah.
And he's talking about the movie. So it felt like a little odd that Steven Spielberg's in there like trying to sell this movie. So either, the hype's going to be real with this one, or he's trying to garner up some interest to get people to go see it and be like, hey, it's me, Steven Spielberg. Like, you guys know who I am. Come see this movie.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how it's going to be. I mean, the trailer it has me intrigued. The casting with Emily Blunt and Josh O'Connor. I mean, Josh O'Connor is a rising star. I mean, he's just popping off these last couple years. So, I mean, it looks interesting.
I don't know if I've heard anything about this movie. The trailers, like you said, it looks interesting and intriguing, but it feels like it could be a lot. It seems like there's a lot going on, or at least like a lot you can't really describe.
Yeah, like at the end of the trailer, like you've seen the clip with the reindeer, like the deer inside of this little girl's room. And then like they cut towards the end of the trailer and you see like she's like the girl's laying on the ground, which I believe is probably Emily Blunt when she was a kid. And she's laying down like in this room and you see the deer like looking at her, and then you zoom out and the head is actually an alien.
Oh, it's kind of like turning, and then it transforms from deer to that's
so we
cool.
Don't know if it's like is the reindeer an alien or the aliens. And Steven Spielberg's like in the trailer talking about, he goes, I wanted to get people thoughts of like, what if this is real? I want people thinking like, what could this be real? And then he
Hmm.
said something like, but it is real in a sense. And it's like,
Does he know something
are
we
you in
don't know?
character or what are we doing here? Like, are you trying to tell us something about the world that there's a higher end species that's been here this entire time and they're going to show themselves to us in, you know,
Next
years? Who
weekend
knows?
in Disclosure Day.
That'd be wild. Be
All
fucking wild.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's Spielberg, so, I mean, he makes really good, blockbuster movies, good
Uh,
sci-fi movies, so I would think I would like to check it out. Hopefully, it's good.
yeah.
Um, but that's really it for that weekend, and then the 19th, Father's Day weekend, there's which I just found out doing some research, movie, The Death of Robin Hood,
Yeah.
starring Hugh Jackman.
I watched the trailer right before because we were going through the pod, going through like the outline of what we were going to talk about. And I saw this in here. Elliot added it. And I'm like, all right, let me check this out. The cast looks like, I mean, Hugh Jackman, Jodie Comer, Bill Skarsgård. Like, could this be
Mhm.
good? I don't know. I watched the trailer and I'm like, this is either going to be like a great movie or it's going to be a freaking disaster. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like there's no in between.
Yeah, it's an adaptation of the 17th century ballad, Robin Hood's Death. I had to read that off because I had no idea that existed. So,
Yeah, I don't either.
I mean, it looks, I don't even
It's
know,
A
like
24.
gritty. Yes, it's
Yeah.
A24. Looks very gritty. I can't remember the director of this movie, but I believe
He did Pig
did
and a
Pig.
Quiet Place Day One.
Okay, but yeah, this one looks interesting. I don't think it'll be bad, but I feel like Hugh Jackman is kind of selective with some of the stuff he does. So, um, that's the 19th. And then also that weekend is Toy Story 5. We've talked about this movie a few times already. There's been several trailers. We saw one recently when we saw The Mandalorian Grogu.
Yeah,
I mean, it
looks
looks really
it
good. I mean, Toy
the
Story,
whole
none of the movies are bad. They're all very good.
no, I like the whole thing they're bringing about Woody being bald. It's
Yeah.
hilarious. Considering I'm bald, it's kind of funny. It's nice to finally get some representation of. I mean, you see enough representation, right? With Jason Statham, The Rock, things like that, famous bald guys. But
Yeah.
seeing Woody, like one of the most iconic Disney characters of all time, and
Hmm.
he's bald. It's kind of cool. He just needs to embrace it. Just shave it off, Wood. Just get it out of
Yeah.
there.
What is it? Just like he needs to like polish his head because it's just
Yeah, that's
getting
what they
worn
said.
out.
Get some. Yeah,
Now
yeah.
he also has like a gut. They showed like a scene where he like has kind of a gut. I'm like, how does that work with toys? But but then again, they're toys that come to life. So
Yeah, who knows what they're doing after hours? Having throwing a few back.
probably him and
Hey,
Buzz
Buzz.
catching
Hey,
up after a
you
while.
remember the first movie? Buzz was a little. He was a little buzzed with Mrs. Nesbit having some
That's
tea.
right.
I
Well,
don't
he was
think there was
having a
just tea
midlife
in there.
crisis, but yeah.
I don't know if there was just tea in there. So yeah, that should be good. To me, like going through the June movie release, I think it's kind of. I wouldn't say it's a precursor to July, but it seems like this is kind of a down month. I mean, you have a couple good movies, right? Like we talked about Toy Story 5, Disclosure Day,
We have
and
some. I mean,
then
we have like this first weekend, the blockbuster. I mean, it's Scary Movie and Masters of the Universe, which it's fine. Disclosure Day is
mhm,
like a Spielberg blockbuster. That's a summer
sure,
classic. And then Toy Story 5, again, it's a blockbuster, but it's an animated kids movie. And then you end with last week of June with Jackass, which is Jackass Best and Last. So the last one of the franchise, and then Supergirl. So both those come out the last weekend of June. So Supergirl's gonna be
yeah.
a blockbuster, obviously.
Yeah, Supergirl, I think they did you watch the final trailer for that one too?
Yes, I watched
I
that
mean,
yesterday, I think.
I don't know how this is gonna I don't know what this movie is gonna be like. It could be fantastic. It could be like, it could be forgettable, but I don't know. It's to me like if this was DC from like 5, 6 years ago, I'd be like, whatever. But now with James Gunn kind of leading the charge, it's got me kind of pulling me back into like this DCEU,
Mhm.
universe.
Yeah.
We'll see how it goes. Obviously, Superman's gonna be in it. You got Jason Momoa as the bad guy villain. What's his character again?
Well, he's like it's Lobo. He's like
Mhm.
the I don't call
Is he
him like
technically a villain or is he
no,
like
I think he's
a
like an anti-hero probably.
okay.
Like kinda like a Deadpool or something like that, where
Yeah,
he's not like superhero by any means, but he's not gonna like, hinder the plot. He's more like probably a
gotcha.
sidekick at one point. I can't remember who the villain is. They keep showing him. He's like a weird scaly face and some stuff. And I mean, the beginning of the trailer, they shoot Crypto, right? Like he's like
Yeah, I saw
injured.
that. What the heck?
So it seems like the whole movie like mission for her is to help save him. But that yeah, I mean, like you said, with if this came out a few years ago, I don't know if I would have as much confidence. But now
Mhm.
with James Gunn kind of running everything, I have like full confidence it's going to be halfway decent. So
Because I mean, the first Guardians, the Superman movie came out last year was fantastic. Kind of felt like a refresh take, more
mm,
comic booky, right? With the Henry Cavill Superman, it felt more dark, more gloomy, gritty. This one,
literally, I mean,
yeah. So this one, it's kind of giving me. It's not giving the Guardians of the Galaxy vibes. It is in a sense, but it's got that more comic booky
yeah,
feel to it. So hopefully Supergirl keeps that trend going, and then he can turn around DCU because I mean, like we talked about, he has two of the best superheroes of all time with Batman and Superman. So and it's just and again, like we talked about, it's all about casting, right? You have to cast the right person for these big roles. I mean, because ideally you want these actors and actresses to be the faces of said superhero for a long time for multiple movies. And clearly Marvel found obviously they got the right casting for pretty much all their main superheroes. So hopefully James Gunn is, it seems like he's locked in on getting the casting like down to keep people invested because a lot of people are just like, "Oh, it's DCU again, like who cares? Whatever." But now with Marvel kind of taking a little bit of a dip like we've talked about in the past, who knows what he can get out of this DCU stuff.
yeah. I mean, I think it can't, and I want to say like the old DC. I guess it was DCEU then. It wasn't horrible. It just wasn't great. So I feel like
Yeah.
it'll be hard for James Gunn to get that low or at least get bad. So looking forward to that. And that's it for June. So what do you out of all these June movies, what are you looking forward to the most?
Honestly, I think probably I'm leaning Supergirl, but probably Toy Story 5.
Yeah.
I mean, it feels like it has the highest ceiling of
Hmm.
all the movies,
Yeah.
and I feel like the floor for that one's also I feel like this can't be bad.
Yeah, it's like a high floor. I wouldn't say low ceiling, but high floor.
High floor,
Like
high
it's
ceiling.
very hard to screw up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So probably Toy Story. Supergirl looks interesting. The other ones, it's like they don't do much for me. Like I'll see Disclosure Day. Like I'm intrigued by it. I'm intrigued by the trailer. I'm gonna do my best to like not see spoilers because like right when we see people, like Rotten Tomatoes will post their score, people that we follow start posting their scores about said movies. If it gets really bad reviews, it kind of turns us off to going to see a movie, and I'm trying to get away from that. I'm trying to just be
Hmm.
like, all right,
Yep.
if the trailer interests you, go see it, and then have your own thoughts, and then you can kind of work back through some of the reviews that you've seen from other outlets, so you can kind of go into it. So I'd probably say Toy Story 5 though. If, out of all these movies, if I had to pick one, what about you?
I'm gonna go with Supergirl. I know you mentioned Supergirl as well. I like the direction that universe is heading, and again, when I think of June, I think of a big blockbuster. Like one of
Yep.
those. It's hot
Yep.
outside. You want to get inside the AC and enjoy like a popcorn movie for a couple hours. So, and based on the trailers, I'm excited for it. Like you mentioned, it's a very like Guardians of the Galaxy vibe, which I really like.
Mhm.
So
It's
excited
in
to
space.
see.
Doesn't takes a lot of space. It's a lot of space
Yeah,
oriented stuff, which Guardians
yeah,
was big on,
yeah. A
obviously.
lot of
So
not stuff not on Earth.
yeah, which is
So
cool.
yeah, I'm looking forward to that probably the most right now. So that's it for June. Again, not too heavy, but still some pretty good ones. Hopefully.
It's kind of like a calmer month that's leading up to what we know is coming in July.
But yeah, July. And we'll get to those.
Yeah.
There's got
So
some bangers coming up.
uh,
So that's it for June. Next, Gene Wilder biopics in the works via Deadline.
fantastic.
It's in the works. Nothing. I mean, nothing really else detail wise of like who's. No one's been cast yet. No
Jeremy Allen
story.
White.
I mean, that's what I've seen. Right? Like he
Yeah, I
looks
mean,
just like him.
he looks just like him. He's got the hair down. He's got the mannerisms, I guess, in a sense. I mean, I think it'd be a perfect casting. Hopefully they don't go Timothy Chalamet. Obviously, he played him in Wonka. But I'm fascinated. I obviously biopics they can go many different directions. We've seen biopics like with the Bob Dylan movie. Well, there are a couple biopics like the Michael Jackson one that just came out in a sense biopic, right? Yeah, so you have some movies that kind of were like these are fantastic biopics, but then
Hmm.
some of them are just kind of just bland, I guess. But I feel like Gene Wilder's enough of a icon and a character, right? And all of his roles that he's done. I just hope they kinda knock it out of the park. I think it'd be a fantastic movie to go see. To be just interesting to see what they're gonna touch on, how they're gonna go about it, how much are they gonna dive into all of his different roles, his fame, things like that, so I'm interested.
Yeah, because I think like his if are they just gonna do like a certain time of his life? I know before we started recording, I was talking about how he did Willy Wonka and Blazing Saddles, like arguably his two best films or most known films within a couple years of each other in the early
I mean,
'70s.
that's
So
fantastic. You get to do that whole biopic around, like, those 2 movies, like,
right,
just like that and the fame that came after it
because
and
he
how he
didn't do
kinda
too
got those
much
roles.
after. Well, he didn't do too much in his elder years. Like I think he retired, and we didn't really hear from him for a
Wasn't he
while.
in Frankenstein?
Yeah, yeah, he was Dr. Frankenstein.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
It's
there's a
like
lot of good content there. It just depends on, and again, I don't know too much about his life to know, like, did he have a hard, childhood? Are they going to cover that?
sure,
Like,
sure.
to shape who he was and,
Yeah.
for the most of his life.
But yeah,
But yeah,
excited to
that's
see
exciting.
more of that. Yeah, see more of that when it comes out. And then finally, I saw this. It came out a couple days ago. The End of Oak Street trailer. I know they came out that was it a teaser trailer that we talked about previously, and this was like the official trailer. It came out like 3 or 4 days ago.
Maybe. The first one we saw, I think, was like it was at least like a minute and a half long.
Yeah, this one was a little bit longer.
Hmm.
And I'll be honest with you, I think I saw more dinosaurs in this trailer than I saw in the last Jurassic Park movie or 65 with
Or a
Adam Driver,
65 with it.
which is insane.
If you want to see
It
my
looks
review of 65, check out my letterbox. It's pretty funny.
Yes, Elliot. Go back and look at Elliot's like old reviews from like a couple years ago. His reviews are. I think we were at one of the we were at a bar one night and we were just pulling up Elliot's letterbox movie reviews, and it's his like one liners were absolutely hilarious. And 65 was pretty funny. But yeah, this looks interesting. It's kind of like someone said. I think someone mentioned it's like Stranger Things vibes meets like Jurassic Park,
Hmm.
which is kind of intriguing. I mean, it's got Ewan McGregor and Anne Hathaway in it, so like the trailer kind of it's interesting. It's you don't know what happened. I mean, I think part of the trailer you see they're trying to get out because their entire neighborhood just gone, and they drive to like down the road, and then all of a sudden like the road just stops, and it's like a big forest. So it's like, what's going on here? I'm excited to see. They didn't really give too much away. Obviously, we know dinosaurs are in their neighborhood,
Hmm.
so like, what's happening?
Yeah, I'm really curious on how they're going to go about how that happened, because I think in the trailer it was like overnight there was a big beam of light or something, and it's maybe a little bit of noise, and then they wake up the next morning having breakfast and they start discussing it. It's like, and then dinosaurs roam. So yeah, I mean it's a very interesting concept, very unique ish.
That comes out in August, I believe. I think August 14th is when I saw. So got a couple months till that comes out.
Hopefully it's good. It also kind of gave me Quiet Place vibes, where they're like a family out for like trying to survive, like as
Sure,
an
sure.
close knit group, and
Yeah,
they're getting hunted.
yeah.
So that's it for our stories. You ready to get into the main review?
Yes, I've been. This is much anticipated, so I can't wait to get into this.
Awesome. Let's do it. So, Backrooms is what we're talking about this week. Directed by Kane Parsons, who a lot of people know. He's just a YouTuber. Well, I guess feature length directorial debut. He's done a bunch of stuff on YouTube, but this is his first feature length movie. On a budget of $10 million, it's made over $125 million since it came out last weekend.
That's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, it's a, you can kind of tell, like, okay, it makes sense why the budget wasn't super big. But
Yeah.
now with how much money it's made, there's definitely, open for sequel.
You said this took how long did it take to shoot this movie? Didn't you say it was like
Like a
like a
month,
month? That's
not even a month and a
crazy.
half.
It's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah. So main cast, I mean, there's really only two main actors
Mhm.
in this movie. Chiwetel Ejiofor as Clark, who's a furniture store owner, failed architect, and then help me with this name. I can't remember
It's
pronounce her name.
Renata Reinsva.
Okay, well there you go. She plays Dr. Mary Klein, Clark's therapist. Yeah. So quick synopsis. After a therapist's patient disappears into a dimension beyond reality, she must venture into the unknown to save him. So, and kind of give a little more background on it. This movie is based off of the Backrooms YouTube series. So Kane Parsons like created these short films. I want to say it's probably 4 or 5 years ago at this point. He's got a bunch of them. I watched the original one last night when I got home from the movie. It's probably less than 10 minutes long. So essentially this movie's based off that series that he did. So he not only did those, but he actually directed this movie. And then that is based on the creepypasta of the same name. Do you know what a creepypasta is? I didn't know the term for it until now.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
So it's just like an internet term for like a horror related story
Okay.
that is essentially just shared around the internet. But this creepypasta, The Backrooms, was like a picture someone shared and essentially explained it as like a interdimensional complex of empty rooms, basically accessed by leaving reality. So essentially, examples of like empty or abandoned places that appear uncanny or like surreal. So like abandoned hotels, like in a big movie theater. In this case, it essentially looked like an abandoned, empty like furniture store. So that's basically the background on this. Initial reactions.
I was thinking about this all day because I knew we were gonna talk about this, and I was trying to think of, like, a one-sentence reaction. I guess for me, it's I I am not surprised at how unsettling this movie made me feel at times.
Yeah.
I mean, because the first you know, there were parts of the movie in the beginning part where I'm like, "Oh, this could be a little unsettling." I want that feeling of the hair standing up on the back of your neck. I want that feeling of uneasiness. And I'm like, I didn't really get it. And then there were 2 scenes in particular that we'll get into that I was like, and you were obviously right next to me, and I'm like, "Holy shit." I feel so like I c and I tried to explain this feeling to my fiancée on the way home to Katie. I I I couldn't describe it. It's like it's so hard to describe. You had to just be there just to see
Because
it and
it
to
feels
feel it.
so real, but not real at the
Yes.
same time. Yeah.
Yes, I it's so bizarre. It's like something you've seen in, like, nightmares, but not really
It's like
nightmares, but
childhood
just
memories that,
yes.
especially like
Yes.
guys like us who grew up in the 90s. This
Yes.
movie takes place in early 90s, so it's
Yes.
that aesthetic that we're used
So,
to.
I think it is I'm surprised. I guess I'll change it. I guess I said I'm not surprised at how unsettled I felt this movie made me feel.
Yeah, I just felt like an unnerving, like unnerving yet familiar nightmare that you can't wake up from.
Well, that's good. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's good.
Yeah, it was yeah, like everything you said, the hair on the back of your neck. I mean, the people next to me in the theater were just like I didn't look to see, like, how old they were. I think they were probably a
Mhm.
little younger, but they were I mean, those scenes that we'll get into, they were, like, jumping on each other so scared.
No, dude, I'm sitting here talking about when you just said those scenes, and I'm just like my body is just, like, so uneasy.
So,
It's just
what do you think worked then with this movie?
I think I've seen, bits and pieces of I haven't watched any of his web series, but I've seen, like, all the pictures when you were, like, on Instagram, Facebook,
Mhm.
internet, what have you. Translated it. Honestly, the feeling that you get when you see those images, he translated it so well into the film visually
Mhm.
and how the actors portrayed that uneasiness, right? The 2 main leads, like, you could feel what they were feeling in those moments when they're in the back rooms and stuff's going down. Like,
Yeah.
visually wise, like, once you kinda got into the back rooms and shit started happening, you felt that uneasiness that you would feel when you have seen these images or watched his web series, like, to perfection in that aspect. And then
Yeah.
I thought the 2 main leads how do you pronounce his name?
Chiwetel.
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 So
Yep, Chiwetel
Chiwetel and
Ejiofor.
Renata, like, fantastic performances, especially with her. She didn't say much in this movie. She didn't have a lot of dialogue, but the way she conveys each scene with her facial expressions, like, she doesn't even need to speak half the time. Like, the way she conveys it, you can see it on their face, you can see her uneasiness, you could see her frustration, you could see her fear, you could see her anxiety, like, coming through the screen just based on her facial expressions. So I thought the casting was the of the 2 main leads was perfect, and like I said, the visual aspects of conveying the Backrooms into you know, a big screen movie, perfect.
Yeah. I think the set pieces were like the overarching theme of this because of I mean, that's the whole point of this, right? I mean, obviously you need a backstory and you need characters. You can't just have somebody run around in the back rooms for, hour and a half, hour 45 minutes. But the set pieces themselves, it was just I don't know. It just gets you like goosebumps when you talk about it. The and they used, I believe they built I don't know the exact number, but I want to say it's close to like 30,000 square feet of actual set pieces. So like the backrooms themselves that we saw in the movie, most of it was real. I think there was like they built it across like multiple sound stages. So like the backrooms from the YouTube series, a lot of that is CGI, and Kane Parsons was really good at that kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
be able to bring that to actual life and be able to like have actors walk around in there and feel that like unnerviness of if they turn a corner, is this like the last steps they take kind of thing. So that was perfect. And I mean, most of the movie takes place there anyways, either that or in the store. And then, like you mentioned, the acting was really, really good. Ejiofor, I thought was perfect as the lead. He, there's something, I don't know, the way he uses his face when he acts. Like you can
Mhm.
tell when he's really good at purveying his motion or his emotions. He's just a guy that was just lost in life. And it seemed like with this and we'll get into, spoilers, but it seemed like with this backroom stuff, he kind of found a new meaning or a new, like,
which
awakening,
is
so to speak.
which is interesting
Yeah.
given the situation and circumstances of what actually does happen in the back rooms.
Right. And I thought the ending was, again, I'll get into what didn't work, but I thought the ambiguity of the ending
Mhm.
was a positive for this because, again, this is based off of a liminal space where, there's a sense of lostness and loneliness, and being able to turn this into a movie and then kind of give the ending that they did really sets it up for literally you can interpret it any way you want. Like there's no like, oh, this is exactly what happened. But that's what I thought, that like the three main things that work for me. What about what didn't work?
I think the I don't have many critiques of this movie, but I think the only thing that I didn't like slash didn't work, I think they rushed. I think the third act, kind of like what they were getting to, like what's happening in the back rooms, I think that came on super fast. I think I was hoping for more, I guess, exploration of the back rooms, right? And then it felt like they just rushed that so quick, just so quick. It's like, oh, okay, well, I guess there's our answer to what's been going on back here. Okay, cool. Like
Hmm.
it just happened to me so quick. And I know sometimes, you kind of want to get to that main point. But to me, honestly, that was kind of the only thing that I really didn't like about it. I think the lack of other characters, I think, and we'll get into spoilers, so I'm not going to spoil the other character that I'm referencing, but just kind of a lack of direction, I guess, kind of just using side characters as kind of just like nothing pieces.
Hmm.
Didn't really work, I guess, in the general sense of the movie. I mean, you really didn't need to. You could have probably honestly had that movie with 3 total people with the characters, but, I just think the third act being super rushed kinda knocked it down a few pegs for me, but like you said, the ending kinda brought me back. It didn't make me hate that third act being rushed as much as I initially thought as it was happening,
No,
if
I
that makes
agree.
sense.
I agree. And kind of to add to that, I thought at times that pacing felt a little uneven. Like when Clark, played by AJ Ford, like first discovers the back rooms. There's the scene where he's figuring out what it is. It's probably 15 minutes of him just walking around, looking around. Which I mean, like, which is great.
I loved it.
I like that a lot.
Yeah.
But then you get towards the third act, like you mentioned, and I don't want to spoil anything yet, but actually, do you just want to get into spoilers now since we're kind of on that pace, or is there anything you want to
Sure.
talk about before we get into spoilers?
No, just yeah, we can get into
So,
it.
so like the third act where he is like, he's in there, his therapist, Dr. Klein, is it Dr. Klein? Yeah, Dr. Klein comes to look for him.
Mhm.
Like that whole scene kind of, not scene, like that, like last 30 minutes just felt really, really fast. And like you learn
Yes.
so much more about the back rooms within that scene than you did the whole movie.
Yeah.
Which I mean, it's fine. I mean, that's part of what makes a movie a movie. The third act is supposed to be like the, crescendo, but there was so much random stuff that happened in that part that I'm like, do we
Well,
actually
yeah.
need this?
Yeah, it was weird because like, he goes in there and like you said, he walks around for like 15 minutes, right? And then which I loved. I liked that part. It took a bit to get there, but once he got in there, he's
Yeah.
walking around, stuff starts to being weird. He comes out, and then they kind of I think they fast forwarded time a little bit, maybe like a week or 2,
Yeah, I'm
and then the
curious
next thing you
because,
know,
yeah, we never know.
he goes back in with his 2 managers, and then that's when, like, everything hits the fan. I just wish we got more of him getting deeper and deeper and deeper into the backrooms because, like you said, we see him go in, he explores a little bit, then he comes out and then he meets with her, and he has already like a blueprint of everything of that he's been through. And it's like
Right.
we didn't get to see any of that, which is fine because you can't show every little detail of him walking in there. But it felt like it kind of didn't lose me a little bit, but it's just like, oh, I wanted more of that. Like, let's go back in there before because obviously, like when he goes back in his managers, right? That's when they're in there for like 10 minutes and they all get attacked, right? Shit hits a fan. I just wanted more. Maybe they go in there earlier and they explore more and they find more shit, but nothing happens. Give me
Yeah.
more of that. Give me more of that uneasy feeling without giving everything away.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. I think though, as soon as he told his therapist this whole situation, that he discovered this place and the basement of his business, which is like a basically a furniture store that's going out of business and can't stay afloat, and she doesn't believe him. And of course he's like, why would you believe me? Like, this is real. And it's like, well, you can understand why someone doesn't believe you, that there's another dimension that you walk through a wall to get to. But After that, then he goes and to his, his managers that work for him and is like, "Hey, I need you to do some research for me or with me. Let's go." And I'm like, "Well, he already told his therapist that about this, even if she doesn't believe him." And then he's taking these two in, and then once they figure out, like when he goes through the wall, and then his manager's like, "Oh my god, this is actually real." I'm like, "There's no chance those two are coming out.
No,
Like,
God,
there's no chance." Like that was so predictable. Like they're gonna go in there, they're gonna die, and of course they end up dying. But for a second, I thought they weren't going to. But like you said,
oh yeah,
they go in. I would have rather have them. So the scene where they go in and he has to, I can't remember the manager, the one guy's name, but he basically ties a rope to him so he can go down this like steep looking like carpet stairs. That's probably, I don't know, 40, 50 feet down.
this is one of the this is probably the most unsettling scene that I think I felt during this movie, like the most
Yeah.
uneasy I felt. I don't know how to describe it.
Yeah.
It's weird.
So I mean, you can't really describe the Backrooms. I mean, you can see in my background, but it's,
It's just like it's not like a it's kind of like a chute. It's like an angled like a slide in a sense down into like a room, but it's like a carpet.
yeah, because he hadn't discovered this part yet because he keeps going around and eventually it's known that like stuff changes. He's not going to see the same stuff twice almost all the time. Everything's changing around him. And when the employee goes down there, he's tied. It's basically like he's like rock climbing, right? Like he's tied to a rope and they tie it to like a bed up at top of this like slide looking stairs thing. And he's walking around. He ends up seeing like a pile of clothes and he pulls up a shirt that he was wearing earlier in the
Yeah,
movie.
that was bizarre.
And then he's kind of walking around a little bit more. And then he discovers that, well, he did discover that, but he hears a bunch of noise and then he thinks he sees like some kind of monster or something. So he's running back up these stairs, and they're pulling him in, pulling him in. They finally get him to the top, and I'm like, okay, this would have been good to kind of end it here, like they had their first scare,
Yes,
and then
yes,
they
yep,
leave the back rooms, or maybe they're trying to leave and they can't figure out how to get out.
sure. I 100%. I
But
think
if they're able to
that's
like get out, and then they're like, oh my god, we're never going back in, and then he convinces them somehow to come back in because
sure,
they're really trying to learn more about this thing. But
sure.
then no, once he gets to the top of these stairs, he gets literally pulled back in, pulled all the way down.
He gets pulled all the way down, then the rope hit the bed pulls and it knocks all three of them, all the other
Yep.
two down,
Yep.
and that's where kinda shit hits the fan. But going back to, like, the unsettlingness of this movie, where you had mentioned I had mentioned there were 2 specific we were talking about the 2 specific scenes. It was like the first scene was when he was in there by himself, and he's looking around, he finds that duffel bag of, like, tapes, and then he's trying to figure out and then he hears noises, right? And then all of a sudden, he looks through the little kind of the vent shaft that he climbed through,
Hmm.
and what what do you call that thing? The thing that had the recording tape to it,
Like a
not the
cardboard
man
cutout.
the cardboard cutout, yeah, the cardboard cutout gets destroyed, and you hear, like, a bunch of noise and big, loud footsteps, and then he's trying to escape wherever he's in, he's trying to get out, and he has to, like, climb up this, like, little hill. It's not even a hill, it's like an incline up to, like, a tiny little trap door
Yeah.
to, like, squeeze through, and, like, if you guys don't know, like, trying to climb up, like, an incline with carpet is not easy,
Hmm.
but that was the first scene I was like, I feel so, like, on edge, like, uneasy, like, unsettling feeling. It reminded me, like, when we were kids, mom and dad had that little hill, like, a little my parents had, like, this our parents had, like, this little
Well, I
incline
think
thing
because
in their
the
closet.
closet was above the stairs,
Yes.
so it had that incline as the stairs like
Yeah.
were below it.
So we talked about during the movie, I was like, that reminded me of, mom and dad's closet growing up. Maybe that's part of why it felt that whole scene of him trying to get up carpet, trying to get the thing maybe felt so uneasy, but that's like that scene, dude, that was like they did such a good job in this movie of making you feel so flippin' uneasy, like, just
Hmm.
uneasy.
Yeah.
Like, that scene, like and for me, like, I was more uneasy when he was just going down, not knowing like, you're looking down, right? It's like I don't know how to describe it. It's like when you're on, like, at a water park and you're going to, like, the top of the slide, like, the big slide, but there's, like, gaps in between the stairs and you're like looking down and it's like 60, 70, 80 foot drop and there's
Hmm.
nothing there. It had that feeling of like you're just like looking down this massive like ramp, slide, carpet shaft, whatever you want to call it, and like looking down there not knowing what's down there. That made me more uneasy than him trying to get back up.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yes. Yes. It's hard to explain, but
It's
I understand what you're
it's
saying.
that scene alone just like really hit me, like uneasy feeling. And then it carried on through the rest of the movie. But like we talked about, I think it got rushed. I think I don't even know what the hell you even call that monster thing. I was talking to a couple people at work and someone had mentioned that maybe that what do you want to call him? Captain
Yeah, whatever
whatever the store's name is.
yeah, so Clark, who owns the
Captain Clark. Let's call him
store,
like Captain Clark.
did a has been doing like commercials for his furniture store, and he's dressed up as a pirate with like a peg leg, trying to sell his furniture. And the big bad monster within this part of the back rooms that he discovered is essentially like a giant version of that,
I've seen things.
right?
Yeah, I've seen things that, when she comes in there to try to find him and rescue him when she finally sees him, that actually may not even be him and that he's actually Captain whatever you call it. That's actually him.
Captain Clark.
The distortion, right? Because
Yeah,
that's what I'm big
interesting.
on. That's where I was a little confused with the distortion stuff. Like, there's people in the back rooms. You don't know how they got there, who they are, what they are. They're disfigured. One guy was like in a wheelchair with like 3 legs.
Hmm.
The guy had like 5 sets of eyes on his face, and it's like they were talking. I think they were mentioning like as time goes on, your memory fades of different things, and you forget what this person actually looked like. So I think over time, like if you've been in the back rooms for so long,
Hmm.
you start to look a little distorted. So again, it just got rushed. The thing chasing her, she tried to get it was a very rushed third act, but the ending, the last like 10 seconds, like a minute, like last like 30 seconds was like, okay, all right. I kind of forgive a little bit of that rush third act with her,
Hmm.
with what happened with her.
Yeah.
Do you want to get into that?
Yeah, so to give a little context, I mean, not context, but like she is his therapist. Mary Klein is Clark's therapist, and basically is trying to help him get through his divorce. And the whole movie, it's from Clark's point of view. It's I'm doing all this work. My wife didn't do any work, and you know I can't be successful because she's dragging me down, kind of thing. So his therapist is basically trying to help him through that. And at the end, when she goes to try to find him, she discovers him. He ends up like knocking her out, like choking her out, and then she
Yeah.
ends up in this like weird house with the table with these like distorted people, and she essentially like convinces him that like it's his fault, like, and he finally kind of comes to, I think he kind of comes to the reality of like it's my fault, the reason why my life is the way it is,
Yeah.
because I was so selfish. And
She snapped on him.
yeah,
Like, I mean, she was also obviously thinking she was fighting for her life. So,
right, like, and she convinced him to take his like responsibility for his life and his
mhm.
actions. And I think at that point when they're having this conversation, he was like, this is ridiculous, why am I here?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
maybe I should let you go. And I think, and again, this could be completely wrong and it's just up to interpretation, but I think when he did that, his like the giant version of himself realized like, maybe I'm not part of this anymore. I'm not necessary because this guy has clearly come to terms with his life and is back on track or whatever you want to call it. And then decided to like attack him. Like, no, this is not what it should be, and attacks him, but she
Which
escapes.
which makes me think of why his thing attacked his 2 managers, right? Like, why they attacked him.
Yeah.
It's all open to interpretation, obviously, and, who knows, maybe Kane Parsons will talk more about this film and what happened if because the ending, right, we
Basically, like a
try
whole
not to.
chase through the back rooms. She thinks she
Yeah,
escaped the back rooms because she's in his store, but in reality, that was
mhm,
just part of the back rooms. At least
yeah,
this version.
then she's getting chased by the guy, and then she squeezes through a thing, but, like, I
Yeah, she
think it was
squeezes
just
through
stuff like this she gets to the thing, and there are all these guys standing there with,
hazmat suits.
hazmat suits on, spraying her down,
Right.
and
So it's
she
like, are
sits
these
in
guys
this.
part of the back rooms? Or are they real
Correct,
people?
it's weird. It's like
Yeah.
because the guy in the beginning part of the movie, you see a guy, like, watching the back rooms on camera.
Hmm.
Because, like, his character is, like, walking through the back rooms and he sees a camera, he looks up at it, and then you find out this guy someone has been watching him.
Hmm.
Someone's watching they're studying the back rooms, who knows? And then she ends up getting dragged around. She gets brought into, like, this big, like, room,
Yeah,
and
it's
there's a
like a
bunch of
research
people,
facility or
research
something.
facility, doctors looking at her, and then all of a sudden, the next thing you know, she's getting walked to, like, a she's, like, in a hospital jail type of thing, and then she sits down with this guy, and he's basically being very, like, odd. Like,
Hmm.
I'm trying to figure out, like, what their point was with this guy. He's, like, looking over the two-way mirror a bunch, like, "Oh, I can't really tell you. It's
Right,
not up to
because
me if you live or die."
yeah, I mean, that's probably like the not uncanny, but the unnerving part of this whole movie as well is like he can't be straight with her, and maybe he doesn't even know the whole situation. But this guy works for, I think it's Async is the company name.
they built MRI
He said
machines.
the MRI machines, which is interesting because when they like found her and took her in, you saw like the brain scans of her. Like, remember like that scene between like they were showing like the
I don't know if those were the brain scans of her
maybe not.
because as she was getting walked, remember she's getting walked to that room. You see Captain.
Yeah,
I keep
that's right.
forgetting. I,
He's in
I keep
another
forgetting
room.
what to
Captain
call him.
Clark. He's in
Captain
another
Clark.
room
And you
as she
see the
walks
brain
past him. Yeah,
scans. You
yeah,
see the brain scans on like a quick glimpse in the MRI room.
that's right.
And I will say this: it looked like a normal, regular human skull. So you wonder, does that mean was that actually Clark? Was that actually him? Yeah, because we know was
And
he
we
out?
also don't
How
know if
long
he's.
was
I
he in
mean,
there for?
yeah, that's true. That's true.
Crazy.
Yeah,
But yeah, the
it reminds me a lot of Stranger Things, like
mm-hmm,
Dr.
mm-hmm,
Brenner and their whole company who like discovered, the Upside Down, which is like this same company. This company was like an MRI company, and then they somehow discovered the Backrooms. So it seems like they're just doing a bunch of research about, a
yeah.
lot
Just
of,
that's all.
reconnaissance.
That's all you know. It's like that's how the movie's like. Basically, like, these guys are doing research. That he can't really give her any answers.
And even
She
he
wants to know,
doesn't know
like,
everything. So he's like asking her,
no,
like, what did you experience? What did you see? Because every, little bit of information gives us more and more. And who knows
which
what
is
their
weird to me
intentions
because
are.
he's
But
been watching it on the cameras.
right.
He's been watching now. Who knows how many cameras are in there? But it might just be that one specific spot. But yeah, it's like all of a sudden she's in that room, and then the last like 10 seconds, it like cuts out, and she's still in that same room, but it's like she's like
It's the Backrooms version of
it,
the room.
it's the backrooms version of the room where it's
Yeah.
like sand everywhere, the windows are gone, the chairs are battered, and then it cuts around to her, and then she has this disfigured face. So it's like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah. Cause that also part of that like sequence at the end is there was a camera panning to like her house as a kid.
Yes.
Cause she went through like, and I think that's why they include like a lot of her backstories. Cause she went through a lot of trauma with her mom, like being guarded and like wasn't able to
Hmm.
leave. And her mom ended up going to a mental institution. And so there's like, and their house, she uses like her like security blanket is like the piece of cement that she put her hand in on her like driveway as a
Hmm.
kid.
Yep.
But it starts there and the camera kind of pans down to like the next room and it looks a little bit less like that house, that room. And then it goes down another floor and then another floor, and it
Yeah.
keeps getting more ambiguous and more ambiguous as it goes down. And eventually it just looks like a backrooms room, which is probably what it is. And so I think like a, a lot of her trauma was resolved in the end, or at least maybe to an extent, because I think when she realized, I don't know, maybe she became a therapist because of her trauma, and
Yeah.
then she realized she couldn't help Clark, and basically told him it's all his fault, and then that kind of freed her a little bit, and I don't know.
It's
It's
just
just
it's you guys will see this. If you guys haven't seen this and you guys are listening to this, you guys are probably feeling the same way we do. It's really open to interpretation. Obviously, it sets up if he wants to do a sequel, it sets up for the same storyline, or maybe the part of the unnerving, you know, uneasy feeling is that this is it, and it's maybe he makes another movie, but it'll have nothing to do with this cast. It just kind of leaves you like, okay, yeah, there it is.
right.
It's. I'm still trying to like you can come up with so many like theories, right? You can
Hmm.
sit down, you can go to Reddit, you can go to online, you can go to people who are in the movie industry just talking about this film, their thoughts on it. Like, how long was Clark in the back rooms for? Was he actually in there for a very long time? Was he stuck in there for years? Who knows? Right? Who knows? Was he actually the Captain Clark? Was that actually him, the big, tall, googly eyed villain? Like, was that him? Could have been. It's also interesting, it's also intriguing. That's probably part of it, I think that worked, but then part of it didn't, but, walking out of the theater, it's like it was packed.
Hmm.
Like, that theater was packed. I know
Yeah,
it's summer now,
surprising. It
obviously,
was
kids are out
I
of
mean,
school, but
we saw it
you
on a
could
Wednesday
feel.
night,
Yeah.
like almost a week after it came out, and it was. I mean, it was
It
full.
was that's
It
fine,
was
it's
a
like
full, but it was pretty close.
yeah, you go to these movies and it's like you wanna have packed theaters and you could just feel the tenseness, like, how tense it was in that movie theater with that movie with certain scenes. But man, did that because I remember we were on our way home, we drove separately, and I literally called you, and I'm like, what the fuck did we just watch?" Like, I can't describe it. I'm having it's like if you haven't seen it, you can't it's so hard to describe, which is why I appreciate you having the back rooms as your, screen on the recording for this. It's hilarious. But I liked it. I think it leaves plenty of discussion on what this could be, and I think he did a really good job. Like we said, the third act probably got a little bit rushed. They kinda rushed into what we thought was like, we don't know what's in there. They kinda rushed that. It's like, "Oh, okay, well, here it is. This is what's happening." but then they leave you at the end with like, okay, well, here's what happened to her. What do you guys think?
Yeah, and even then,
It's
who
like
knows? I
shit.
mean, that might not even be her. That just might be
Correct. We don't.
that could be
It's.
somebody's memory of her in that room. Like, she may have survived and is doing something else, or she may have died, or that's her.
I
So,
wonder if we're gonna get more info about this. Like if he's gonna come out and kind of like go through his thoughts on
yeah,
the
like a
movie and give
post-mortem
his.
talk about some of that
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
But
It's
if
gonna
there's
be interesting. Or if
sequels, I bet yeah, we'll have to wait.
it's fantastic.
But
So
yeah, that's the movie. I mean, it's mumbled, but it's a hell of a time.
that's I. It's I remember this morning because I didn't give it a score right before we're about to get into our final verdict on this, and I was like, I don't know if I'm going to review this at like a 78 or like a 92. I had no idea. So let me sleep on it. Let me kind of go through it. Let me process it. Got to work, and one of the couple of people I work with had talked about it, and they had seen like a lot of stuff online about the movie. So we were kind of going through some theories and stuff, and after thinking about it, and then obviously having the discussion, we come to our final verdict. So
Yeah, so let's get into
what you got?
scores. So I gave it an overall rating of 87 out of 100. For my primary category section, story and script, I gave it a 22 out of 25. And characters and acting, I also gave it a 22 out of 25.
I gave story and script 22. Characters and acting, I gave a 21.
Okay. Yeah, I
21.
mean, so, like I said, 22s across the board for those two. Wasn't perfect. The story wasn't perfect. Third act was rushed a little bit. I thought maybe there could have been a little more exploration or a little more,
Mhm.
not even, it doesn't have to be explanation, but a little more exploration into the back rooms before, shit hits the fan. But it's still a very good movie and a very good script. And coming from, a guy who created some small mini YouTube movies on this to taking it to the big screen, I thought they did a really good job with it. And then the characters and
Yeah.
acting. I mean, both Ejiofor and how do you pronounce her name again?
Not a Rhinesa.
Yes, Renata. I thought they were both excellent. The
I
the
mean,
the combative
yeah.
relationship they had,
Mhm.
I thought worked really well.
Yeah, I agree.
And just the unhinged Ejiofor, who plays Clark, like as the movie went on, and then as like it's basically like the backrooms consumed him, right? I don't know if it's
Yeah, it's like one of those things where you could get caught like in a deep rabbit hole, like
Mhm.
conspiracy theory. It's kind of like a conspiracy theory type of thing where he gets so far deep it consumes him and basically makes him who he is, and he's like compartmentalizing, like, oh my god, I love it here. I'm actually who I am. When in reality, he's like, dude, what? Why? Like, no, just change. Like, you don't
Yeah.
need to be this. Like you said, you don't need to be such a. She basically called him like a whining bitch. Like,
Yeah.
stop blaming it. It's like your fault. You're at a lot of fault for what's going on in your life. Like, suck it up and like get over it.
Mhm.
And then that's when you said he had that
Yep.
realization. So I thought their back and forth was excellent. I think I gave mine a 21, just one tick lower than you, just because the other characters. It's just the whole. I guess because of not knowing exactly what everything is and who they are, it brought it down maybe 1 point for me.
Yeah, fair.
That does not take away. That score is not indicative of how those two acted because those guys, I mean, they were phenomenal,
Mhm.
phenomenal.
Yeah, agree,
So
agree. They added to the movie, if anything. They didn't take away
yes,
from it, those two. And then our secondary categories, so we have 5 of these. Direction, execution, I gave it 8 out of 10.
I also had an 8 out of 10.
Okay. Entertainment value, gave it a 9. It was just 1 point off of being like perfect entertainment.
I think for me, I gave it a 10. I thought about this one. I'm like, all right, were you entertained? And I think the way this movie made me felt, how it made me feel so uneasy and everything felt so unsettling. I was like, holy shit. And I'm still talking about it. Like, I called you on the way home. I talked to Katie when I got home and I couldn't stop talking about the movie and trying to describe how it felt to me. If you like this type of stuff, if you like the uneasiness feeling, it's a different type of horror movie. It's a different type of horror, primal fear that you kind of feel. I think it's for you. So I that's why I gave Entertainment a 10.
That's fair. That's fair. I was 1 point short just because I thought at points the pacing was a little weird, and I don't know if it was perfect in terms of entertaining to me. I mean, there were some slow points that I'm like maybe they could have picked up a little bit, but again, 9 out of 10 is almost perfect. Originality and creativity, gave it a 10 out of 10. I mean, this stems from an original idea from a guy who created these videos on YouTube from a picture of a creepy room. Yeah, perfect, 10 out of 10.
The
As
fact that you
creative
can
as it
make
gets.
the fact that you can take something like a picture and make it into a movie, like a whole series and into a movie, and it makes for some reason, it's just a primal fear that people have with these
It
photos.
makes it re- he can it can make it makes it relatable to everybody.
Yes.
Yeah.
It 10 out of 10.
Yep. And then emotional impact, I give it a 7. Again, I mean, I don't know.
Same. I also gave
Like
it a 7.
when I think of
It's
emotional impact, I think of like how do you feel for these characters
Mhm.
specifically? Like like Clark, for example, who's kind of lived I don't want to say lived a lie, but finally took ownership for his life and the trauma that Mary went through in her life and her herself as a therapist. But at the end of the day, like it's not like I'm more invested in the
No.
Backrooms idea itself than I am those characters.
Sure. Like,
Right.
for me, I looked at it in the sense of, like, you care for these characters in a sense, you, like, you feel for him, you feel for her in terms of, like, what they dealt with, but at the same time, it's like, they didn't really dive too deep into you need to care so much about these characters.
Hmm.
I think maybe that's part of, like, the Backrooms vibe. It's like, it's gonna make you unsettled no matter what, so, like, you're gonna learn about these characters. You might feel emotionally for them, but at the same time, it's like, you're not going to. It didn't, like, tie me like when that whole scene when, obviously, that was a pretty somewhat emotional scene when she's kinda basically, like, shoving it right back in his face, like, "No, it's you," like you just talked about. And him realizing, "Oh my god, you're right, like, what am I doing here?" It gets you a little bit, but it's
Hmm.
nothing like, it's nothing like Rocky and Ryland Grace in Project Hail Mary, right? When he's obviously, that's the first movie that just came to mind about it, that gives you that really
Yeah.
emotional kick, or like in The Martian when, you know, Matt Damon's character gets saved, right? Like, that hits you so hard like a ton of bricks, or Matthew McConaughey in Interstellar. I'm going with the space thing.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean?
Space makes you emotional. I get it.
It's
I
probably
get it.
because these movies that I just watched,
Yeah.
but it doesn't give you that feeling.
No.
So that's why it was like it's a
Yeah.
7 for me.
Yeah.
So
And
7.
then last category, personal bias and enjoyment. I gave it a 9. Again, very close to a 10 for me. I enjoyed it a lot. Really, really loved it. Was just a little bit away from, I don't know, a little bit slow at times. I'm like, oh, this could have been perfect. Not quite perfect.
9. 9 for me. It was a 9 because of how rushed that 3rd act got for me. I think if they would have paced it out, like you said, pacing a little bit better, more exploration of the back rooms
Mhm.
if you would have done that, especially with the ending scene, because I told you, like, the ending scene kind of made up a little bit for how rushed that 3rd act felt.
Yep.
But if you would have done it, more exploration, a little bit more paced out better, a little bit more, maybe a little bit longer of a movie, that would have been a 10.
Yep.
But 9 for me.
So final verdict. Is this a watch now? Is this a watch later? Or is this a watch never? What do you think?
Did you give your final score?
Yeah, 87 out of 100.
Yeah, 87.
87. Oh, look at us. Look at
It's really
us.
weird because, like, we talked about, like, we're gonna have different opinions on things, on movies. There might be some movies I like, but it's kind of bizarre how
I just want to
close we
hate a
are. I mean, we
movie
are
that you
brothers. We
like.
are brothers. We do like this genre. We're one of very few that we regularly hang out with that love these type of horror movies.
Hmm.
But yeah, 87. That's pretty spot on. So I'd watch now. Watch
Yep.
now.
Watch
If you
now
like,
for sure.
if
Go
again,
see this
if
in a
you're
movie theater too. I mean, it'll be cool to watch it with friends at your house on like a Friday night. But if you can, while it's still in theaters, especially like right now, go see it because it was like you said, we went on a Wednesday night and it was crowded and people were freaking out left and right.
I think if you go watch it now in theaters with, get a crowd of people, try to pick a good time like a Friday night or a Saturday night or maybe like a Sunday,
Hmm.
early evening, late afternoon. Or here's something that could make it feel like very, very backrooms esque. Just wait. Watch it now, but just wait until like it's getting ready to leave theaters. Because AMC will do this. Like, it'll stay in theaters for a while. You could go by yourself. Like, you could end up in the theater by
You just
yourself.
okay, I see what you're saying.
And I
Yeah, yeah.
think that'll make that experience, if you stay away from distractions and you don't pull out your phone at all, if you're because I know when you're by yourself in the movie theater, if something is a lull in the action, you might pull your phone out. Don't do it. Watch this by yourself.
And you're just gonna be looking around like, is somebody creeping up on me? Is there something
You're gonna
coming
be
here?
so unsettled. You're gonna see like a light blinking and you're gonna freak out.
Mm-hmm.
But that being said, watch it now.
Yep. Watch it
It's
now.
not gonna be for everybody, right? If you're not a horror film fan, if you don't like that uneasy feeling or you don't like being scared or thriller type movies, which again, not for everyone, I would still say watch now. Movie was I I think it lived up to expectations. I don't think it exceeded my expectations. I don't think it was below it. I think it lived up to what I thought it was gonna be or what it could be.
Yep. Agree. All right, let's get into our last segment. What is on our minds this week?
What's on your mind, Al?
So I don't have too much going on aside from this movie and working, but Started Spider Noir on Prime. I know we talked
Mhm.
about it last week of, it just had been released and it was something I was getting into. All I will say is I'm one episode in and definitely watch it in black and white. Don't watch it in color. We flipped through it when we started the show. We were like, let's start it in black and white. I'm like, man, let's try color. And you could switch back and forth like pretty easily. And watching color for a little bit, I'm like, it doesn't look right. We got to watch it in black and white. So
That's how I feel about It's a Wonderful Life.
yeah. Oh
I
yeah,
know
for sure.
people like the colorization of an old movie. Watch it in black and white. So
Yeah.
I'm glad that you said so. I remember this at Christmas when we want to put It's a Wonderful Life on, and you're like, "Oh, let's watch it in color." I'd be like, no, we're doing black and white.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll watch it in black and white.
But yeah, I mean, other than that, not really, not really into much. Just trying to get through the work week.
I get it, dude. It's been a long week. Not much for me. Catching up on Andor, like I said, I've been watching that. Watched that. I think I'm like episode 5 or 6, so it's starting to get to like the really good stuff. And like I said, I already seen this. I stopped at episode 10 because I just didn't want to finish it. So I was like, I need to finish this because I want to watch it right into Rogue One, especially after we were talking watched Mandalorian last week. Got into like the whole Star Wars discussion. So I'm watching that. Katie and I did see Obsession last Friday. It's about a week
Hmm.
ago. So, spoiler potentially, that could be the movie that we might be reviewing next week.
Yeah.
Another good horror film that had a very small. You guys are not going to believe this movie. We'll talk about it, and I'll just kind of say it now. This movie had a budget of $750,000.
Yeah.
It's made over $150 million.
Yeah. Word of
Like
mouth is insane for this movie.
another great horror movie.
Hmm.
Again, it has a crowd. It has a type of people. If you like horror movies, you'll love this one. I liked it a lot. I won't get into my score yet. I'm going to go back through and maybe readjust my rankings based on, I gave it a week to kind of simmer. So might go back through that. And that's, it's about it.
Yeah.
Not really
Pretty light.
watching much else.
Yeah.
Um, Watching hockey, obviously Stanley Cup finals on, baseball's now, full swing. So just throwing that on, just trying to, like you said, trying to get to the work week. Memorial's this weekend. So I might throw some golf on, watch that this weekend. But no, I'm still thinking about the back rooms.
I know. I don't even think about it for a long time. Yeah.
I might go watch Kane Parsons stuff. Might throw some of that on
Yeah.
late
Go to
tonight.
YouTube, watch his films. Really good stuff. Are you ready to wrap it up?
Yeah, so that is it for this week's episode of Brothers and Blockbusters. If you've enjoyed the episode, please follow the show, leave us a review. I know we got a couple reviews in there, so wherever you get your podcast, it does genuinely help us more than you know. We're going to start trying to do a little bit more, couple different things here, maybe doing some video clips on our Instagram, maybe get a TikTok going, do some movie reviews as we're, initial reactions after a movie. We'll pop some of those in there for you guys just to kind of get us, kind of spread the word. So you guys will follow that and spread that around for us. And obviously, more reviews, more exposure, at least, more leads to more exposure of our lovely voices.
Mm-hmm.
So share the podcast with your friends, family, enemies, or anyone you know, people you work with, colleagues, people you know love movies. If you want to reach out to us, you can send us an email at brothersandblockbusters@gmail.com, or you can visit our Instagram page at Blockbuster Brothers. We're more than willing to have conversations about movies.
Please bug the hell out of us.
Yeah,
We'd love
do
to
it. We
talk.
love talking about it. When you're sitting around at the bar with your friends, DM us on Instagram about a movie you watched. I know I got a couple people actually Instagram followers who've now followed my letterboxed. So that's pretty cool. Getting our names out there, just trying to get you guys into movies more. Movies are awesome. It's a great year for movies.
Mm-hmm.
So I believe next week I'll tentatively say we are reviewing the sci-fi horror film Obsession.
Yep. Can't wait. That should be exciting.
Can't wait. I can't wait for you to see it. I can't wait to
I
hear
haven't
your
seen it
reaction
yet.
on
You've
it.
already seen it, so
Yeah.
this will be interesting.
Yeah. So thanks for listening, guys, and we will see you next week.
See ya.